And I think what I'm trying to say is when there is a big gap between aspiration and the resources, you tend to think differently, and that's what happened at that time. So we were able to create an impact in the job market. We recruited good quality talent from different backgrounds. People came in from different Indian companies, Tatas, MNCs, and it became, I very quickly realized that it had become a melting pot of different cultures. For the same decision, each one would behave differently. For example, if there was a non-performer in the organization, somebody would say, no, we have to be loyal, and we cannot ask him to go. Then somebody else would ask him to go. Somebody else would say we should train him. So I'm just saying, for the same issue, there will be multiple opinions. And it was giving different signals in the organization to different people. And very quickly I realized that we had to work as a cohesive company. So what I did was I wrote down a lot of my internal thoughts in terms of how the company should be managed, express them in terms of people, kind of products, what do we do with our profits, and shared that with my team. It evoked a fantastic response from my team, and it got value added. They also added their own thinking. In some areas I had not realized that we need to build something into the values. So at the end of that deliberations, we had, me and my team, had a value document which was owned by the team. And then I said, what do we do next? So we said that let's involve the next layer of management. So about 20 other managers, we called them to an outside location and said that these are our values which we have thought through and we would want your opinion. So we spent one full day in terms of identifying what thoughts they had, again got value added. But I think the most important learning for me in all this was that at the end of that day, we had committed almost 30 people, top people in the organization, saying that these are our values. And these are not MD's values, or these are not the owners or the promoter's values. And I think that's very important, because if I say something, the values, and I just tell you, then there'll be a lot of cynicism. No, this is his value, and we don't believe in it. But if I allow you to participate, if I listen to what you have to say, if I involve you, then I get your commitment. I think the key thing in any change management agenda, when you want to change things, when it is going to impact people, it's very important to involve people. And then you will get commitment. Many times people may not participate also. But the fact that they have been given an opportunity to reflect on something, I think that commitment comes in. Because post that, we said that what do we do next? So we started sharing those values at all our locations, including our factory sales locations. I personally went to all the locations, shared why we are doing this. We had group discussions again on that, identified the gaps where there were gaps, and many gaps were there in the organization. And I think that gave us a whole host of initiatives to tackle in terms of changes to be brought out in the organization. In the first 2-3 years, we took a lot of top-down initiatives. We also told the employees that you can actually use these values as an empowering tool, and if you think that you're doing something right, you can get yourself empowered. I think this is very important, but because when you have a strong culture, or when you have a culture, it is very difficult to copy. You can copy somebody's product, but you can't copy culture. It is very, very hazy, it's very fuzzy, and it's impossible to copy. And if it is a source of competitive advantage, it is, in my opinion, for us it's a source of competitive advantage. And for any organization, any culture can drive certain organization initiatives. So it's very important, in my opinion, it's very important to create the right culture which is required for that particular business one is in, and leverage it and go on reinforcing it again and again. So what is our culture? We believe that we are very open. So just to give an example, how do we promote openness within the organization? We have an open house every year. All the employees ask any awkward questions to management. Our office, we moved into a new office. It is designed as an open office. We share a lot of information with our members. We have relationship reviews with the boss and subordinate. We have training programs to generate openness. So openness gets reinforced from different angles on a perpetual basis. So anybody deviating from that openness, then it will stand out. For example, if a new employee any new employee joins, he spends one day in what are the values and why we are added values and what needs to be practiced. We have value surveys every year. So if there are some deviations, it will come out in particular function or particular location. So basically what I'm saying is values is not something which is pasted on the reception board. It has to be perpetually reinforced. And then only you will have a strong culture. Otherwise you will have values, it'll look good, and by and large most companies have similar values. So I don't think there's anything of unique about having values. The uniqueness is actually creating that values into a strong culture on a perpetual basis. So even if you acquire a company, and we acquired about 7-8 companies in the past few years, we actually try and change the culture of the organization, not only in India but outside India. We have had acquisition in Egypt, South Africa, very, very different culture. And that culture building can take anywhere between 3 to 5 years, but our job is over a period of 3 to 5 years. That culture of the acquired company should actually be integrated with your own culture. So very quickly you can go through that informal, very participative, very high degree of job rotation. Being a family owned organization, we have to send a message that everything works on merit, influence will not work. Job rotation because we believe that a new person coming into the same job every few years brings in some new thinking. So we have an active job rotation process where normally a person remains in a job for a period of 3 years. Except at the top level, it's a little longer, but at middle level, senior levels, person's job changes every 3 years. We share these values at our organization communication exercise, which every year happens in the month of April at all our locations, all our factories, all our sales, all our international locations, totaling about 20 or so. I think I discussed about how to reinforce value. We also have had value workshops, but to me the critical takeout was leadership buy-in. I'll talk a little bit about innovation now. I believe that innovation is possible in any business. Many times people think that my business cannot be innovated. And I want to talk about Parachute, which at one level is coconut oil. But how have we used innovation to become a market leader from zero market share? So when I started working, coconut oil was packed in tins on the left hand side, and now today's packing is what is shown on the right hand side. So when the market was 100% tins, I realized that plastics was cheaper, it was more attractive, it was convenient to use. So I thought it's very easy, I'll be able to convert into plastic, very easy. So, but when we started going to the dealer and started asking them, the dealer said, no, we will not use plastics, or we will not store coconut oil plastic. So we asked them why. So saying that before you somebody else had come in plastics, and the plastic was a square shaped bottle, and a lot of coconut oil was oozing out of the bottles, and rats love coconut oil. So when we close our shops, all the bottles are broken and the whole shop gets spoiled. So there was such a strong resistance, we had to actually design a round bottle and keep them in rat cages and ensure that the rats were not able to get a grip on the bottle. And show that to the retailers, and it took almost 10 years for us to convert the market from tin to plastics. Now, but at one level it looks very easy, but when in terms of execution, everybody, the whole organization was actually tracking this plastic conversion. What I'm saying is, innovation is just not creativity or thinking different. It also is a lot of rigor in execution. Many times you will have great ideas, but if you don't execute well, it will not succeed. So we did well, and in India, once somebody does well, there are a lot of copycats. So we had a huge number of copycats, 100 plus copycats for Parachute. So we said, can actually technology play a role in eliminating that? So we went to a mold maker in Europe and designed this cap, which is a combination of pilfer-proof and it's very difficult to copy, expensive mold. We launched that, the copycats vanished. It was a matter of time some Indian mold makers were able to make that mold at a much lower cost. But in that period, we were able to, for 4 or 5 years, give us a window of removing that. Then, in winter, coconut oil freezes, as most of you, if you are using, would know. People would go back to tin. So we said, can we design a wide mouth container with this spout? In plastics, we had a sachet. So sachet were again a lot of copycats. We said, can we innovate in that? So we have this, I don't know how many, since 1 rupee mini bottle. It looks like a bottle. It's sold at the same price as sachets. Again, got imported machines, sold, our market share just jumped up from 17% to 50% in sachets. Just because of this packaging innovation. Because it was very convenient to use. As against sachet, you have to cut it or tear it, You just have to, it breaks like, when you just twist it. So I'm saying that all these series of innovations through the packaging route has helped to create this brand. It's a very strong brand. It's a brand with more than 1,000 crore turnover. We sell something like 3 crore bottles every month, you know. So, but for this innovation at one level looks very simple, we would not have gone anywhere. Now, what happened was, I'll talk about a battle we had with Hindustan Unilever sometime in 1997, 98. By then we had gone public in 96. And Hindustan Lever at that time was riding very high because they had done extremely well in the oral care category against Colgate, in Pepsodent and Close Up. And they had grabbed a huge market share, and Lever stock was riding very high. These days again it's back on track, but last few years it was in some sort of a problem. But Lever is a very respected company and one of the best managed companies. But so they announced at an analyst meet saying that we will do much more damage to Parachute than we've done to Colgate. We are far more stronger, and they were far more stronger compared to us, or compared to what we are compared to Colgate. You know. So there was huge fear of the organization. People simultaneously, on one side, there was a lot of fear they were spreading in the marketplace. Simultaneously, there were a lot of feelers given to me, including calls to me by the chairman, why don't you sell out, why don't you sell out? If you don't sell out, your history. But I don't know why, what happened. I was not wanting to sell out. I'm very, very determined. I'm not going to sell out. And the chairman said also, if you sell out, all your 10 generations will be taken care of financially. So you are financially, and if you don't, all your wealth is going to get destroyed. No? So it was a big decision, and more than that, there was a huge issue of morale in our field force. Our share prices dipped because on one side I was not selling out, the other side they said they would aggressively attack us. And in terms of investing money in advertising or distribution, and compared to what we are today, they were far, far stronger at that time. So what did we do? So we increased advertising spend. We gave a thing to our analysts saying that this year our performance, stock performance, share performance, profitability may be under impact. Improved our distribution muscle. We had to create a mindset internally of being a leader, and that was very important. Not perceiving in that category we were leaders. So just because Lever was bigger, we should not get scared of that. So we took them on 4 different fronts. Okay. On the product front, we tried to improve the clarity of product, and we leveraged that to advertising. And we created advertising which I believe